everyone, so my name is Cotejo Cotejo and I will now report the animation concept. So in today's report, so we have objectives. So at the end of this discussion, the student should be able to first discuss the history of animation and the tools for creating an animation. So the second objective is to identify the different types of animation. The third is to know the techniques in animation. And the last objective is to understand the traditional process of making an animation. So let's start in our first topic, which is the history of animation. But before we discuss the history of animation, let us tackle about what is animation. So animation is the process of designing, drawing, making layouts, and preparation of photographic sequence which are integrated in the multimedia and gaming products. So animation involves the exploitation and management of still image and generate the illusion of movement. So when did the history of animation start? So the history of animation started on the 20th of July in 1887 in France. So Charles Emily Reynaud, a self-taught engineer, created and presented the first proxinoscope. So on the 28th of October 1892, so he projected the first animated film in public, which is called The Pauvre Patriot at the Musée Grévin in Paris. So what is the first animated film? So the first animated film started between the February and May 1908. So Cole created the film Phantasmagoria, considered the first fully animated film ever. So in 1907, the French artist Émile Cole started his filmmaking career with Japon de Fantaise. So with the imaginative use of stop motion technique. So his next short can be regarded as the first animated film using what come to be known as traditional animation method. So next is the hardware animation tools. First tool, so pencil. Pencil is used to rough out first key drawing. HB or B pencil is needed for clean drawing, while coloring pencil is used for roughing out the animation. So the next tool that we have is the stylus pen. A stylus pen is a small pen-shaped instrument whose tip position on a computer monitor can be detected. So it is used to draw or make selections by tapping. Next is the eraser. So eraser is used to remove pencil markings on the paper. It is important for an animator to have an eraser to rub out lead cleanly. The next tool is camera rig. So camera rig is made up of metal frame to hold and control the camera without shaking when being used. The next tool is a scanner. So a scanner is used as an alternative device to camera. Our next tool would be the drawing tablet. So drawing tablet is used for digital coloring and drawing. And our last hardware tools is computer or a personal computer. So a personal computer is used in animation for line testing or for editing. Our next discussion would be the animation software tools. So for the first software, we have the Moho Pro. So Moho Pro is an award-winning animation software for Mac and has everything you need to create professional quality 2D animation. So next we have the Selection 2D. So Selection 2D is an ace tool in video editing category. So this software also edits and make 2D arts or 2D animation. So the third software we have is the Procreate. So Procreate is designed to use with Apple's tablet and stylus tool. So Procreate gives artists all the benefits of working digitally. So the ability to delete and correct easily, create art more quickly, and share work instantaneously. And for the last software that we have is the Autodesk Maya. So Autodesk Maya is an animation and modeling program used to create three-dimensional or 3D, so full motion effects. Maya incorporates the natural laws of physical to control the behavior of virtual objects in computer animation. So for the next topic, we'll have the animation studios. So for the first animation studio, we have the Pixar. So Pixar was co-founded by Apple visionary Steve Jobs and was purchased by the Walt Disney Company in 2006 for more than $7 billion. So breaking into the film industry with Toy Story, the American studio has gone to produce some of the most critically and financially successful films, which includes the Toy Story films. So the next is the Wall-E film. Next is Brave, Ratatouille, and Inside Out. So for the next animated studios, we have the Walt Disney Animation Studios. So Disney's acclaimed studio has been making feature films since 1937 with the release of the critically successful Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Since then, they have been behind some of the highest grossing animated films of all time. So this includes The Lion King and The Aladdin. So for my last example of animation studios, we have the DreamWorks Animation. So DreamWorks Animation film has been distributed all over the world, so earning them 22 Emmys, several Annie Awards, 3 Academic Awards, and many BAFTA and Golden Globe nominations. So they are behind major franchises like Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, Madagascar, and Kung Fu Panda. So for the next topic, we have the types of animation. So the first type of animation is the 2D animation. So 2D animation is one of the oldest forms of animation, and it can be divided into two different segments. So the first, we have the traditional animation. So this involves animators drawing each and every frame by hand. It's the same mechanism as a flipbook, so just on a grander scale. So characterized by having objects and characters created in a two-dimensional space, meaning that they only have width and height. So you've seen it in movies like Snow White, Peter Pan, and Sleeping Beauty. So for the next type of animation, we have the 3D animation. So this method revolutionized how the animation industry looks today. And it all started in 1995 with the movie Toy Story. So 3D animations come to life by generated frames on computer. It can look super realistic and is quite simply the way of the future. For this, you need to learn how to digitally model landscapes and characters, sculpt them into perfections, and give them skeletons that can move and manipulate. Then, let the computer do the rendering. So for the next or the third style of animation, we have the stop motion animation or the stop frame animation. So this is a technique in which creators physically manipulate objects, making it seem like they are moving on their own. And this technique has been around for a great while. So the example of this animation is the Teddy Bears, so directed by Edwin Porter. So this animation was made back in 1907. So the movie is a short sequence of playing teddy bears just for a minute in length, which took over 50 hours to animate. So the principles were mostly kept a secret back then, not only to prevent the use of such techniques by competitors, but to also keep the audience interested in the magic tricks mystery. For the fourth style of animation is the motion graphics. So motion graphics can be 2D or 3D and mainly used to animate text, logos, and video clips. So motion graphics are called all digital graphics that create the illusion of motion. Unlike 2D animation and 3D animation, you do not need to follow a particular storyline or focus on a key characters with motion graphics. So for the last style of animation, we have the pixel art. So pixel art is a form of digital art wherein images are created and edited at the pixel level using graphic software or graphic editing software. So what defines pixel art is its unique visual style wherein the individual pixels serve as a building block that makes up the image. We are now in the second to last topic that we have, which is the techniques and animation. And for the first technique in animation, we have the cell animation. So cell animation is also known as traditional animation, classical animation, hand-drawn animation, and 2D animation. So cell animation is an animation technique in which the creation of 2D drawing on sheets on transparent plastic is done by hand. So these plastic sheets are called cells. So for the second techniques in animation, we have the keyframe animation. So a keyframe in animation and filming is a drawing or shoot that defines the starting and ending point of any smooth transitions. So these are called the frames because their position in time is measured in frames on a strip or film or in a digital video editing. So for the third techniques in animation, we have the motion capture animation. So motion capture is also called the performance capture or the mocap. So it's a technology that blends real life and animation, so allowing you to film someone live and transfer them into the computerized form. And for the last techniques of animation, we have the procedural animation. So a procedural animation is a type of computer animation used to automatically generate animation in real time to allow for a more diverse series of actions than could otherwise be created using predefined animations. So lastly, we have the last topic, which is the traditional process in making animation. So the first traditional process in animation or in making animation is the making of a storyboard. So the storyboarding process was originally developed in Walt Disney productions in the early 1930s, and it's usually the first step in making traditional animation. So a storyboard is a collection of hand drawings and words that tells a story similar to a large comic strip. So the drawings are displayed in a certain sequence so that the viewers can pre-visualize the animation. So the second process is the voice recording. So a preparatory soundtrack is often recorded before true animation begins. So the animation can be more accurately synchronized to the soundtrack. So this is due to the slow systematic way in which traditional animation is produced. So it's almost always easier to synchronize the animation to an existing soundtrack than it is to synchronize a soundtrack to an existing animation. The third process is the animatic stage. So after the soundtrack is created, an animatic or a story reel is made to determine the overall effectiveness of the animation before finalizing things. So an animatic is usually a sequence of images or sketches in the form of a storyboard arranged in a soundtrack and produced right before the full animation begins. So the fourth one is the design and timing. So when the animators and the directors decide on a certain animatic, they send it along with the approved storyboard to the design department so that the character designers can prepare model sheets for the different characters and objects in the animation. And for the last process is the layout. So layout is after the designs are finished and approved by directors, the layout process coming in action. So the layout artist determine the camera angles, the lighting, and the scene. So along with the main process or poses for characters. So the layout, storyboard, and the audio are finally joined together to form more final animatic or the final product. And that would be all for me. So once again, I am Subcurge. I'm Cotejo from BTLED2-G1. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.